Hey, this is Rahul with ridewithrahul.com and welcome to the beginner's guide of how to ride a motorcycle. Now you might say, why should I listen to Rahul? I mean, there are so many other riders out there with so much experience. Well, I wouldn't want to brag, but I've been riding motorcycles for the last 12 years. And for the last 5 years, I've ridden the motorcycle every day. That means unless I was sick or was on vacation, I've ridden the bike every day to work or to tour. I've also had one track day. I've ridden in all conditions, including wet, winter, and hot summers. I have crashed the bike, I've high-sided, I've low-sided, and 12 years back there was no riding gear available back in India, apart from the helmets. So yes, I have got some nasty crashes without gear as well. That is why I try to wear as much gear as possible now that we have access to all this stuff. So we have our friend here who is going to ride the motorcycle with us, and she's a beginner rider. She's not an absolute beginner, but she's just starting out, so I'll be giving her the instructions, and with that time you will also be learning with me how to ride a motorcycle. Let's start this lesson. Stay tuned.
Isn't she looking hot in this red top? Let me know in the comment section below. Many of you guys have said that you want to teach your girlfriend how to ride. Hope this video helps you out. Controls on a motorcycle are pretty simple. We are going to start with the left hand, which has the clutch and a few switch gears. The clutch is the most important, and you have to engage the clutch completely before you can upshift or downshift. After you have done shifting, let go of the clutch completely and do not half clutch or keep it engaged after you have done the shifting. Now moving into the center, you have the ignition key there. You have to turn it on before you can start the bike with the starter button on your right hand. As you can see, my indicators are on, so I'm just going to show it to you from the front. You can see my left indicators blinking, so I'm just going to turn it off by pressing the indicator button. I'll cover this later, but now we'll cover the main throttle control and the main brake, which is on the right hand. Now right hand controls the most important things on a motorcycle because most people are right-handed. As for now, I'm just going to show you that you have the throttle and you have the front brake, which is going to be the most important brake on your motorcycle. It is doing 70% of your braking on a sport bike. So as you twist the throttle, you get more speed, and as you let go of the throttle, you get less speed. So most motorcycles have a 60-degree or a 90-degree throttle. 90 degrees are easier for beginners. And you have the front brake. You have to squeeze it in with 2 fingers, and you have to do it slightly and progressively as you learn braking. Now on your motorcycle, you have to keep yourself centered, keep both the feet down initially so it gives you more confidence. Try to flat foot, if not tiptoe it, but keep yourself absolutely centered and look far, look straight ahead, and if you're cornering, look wherever you're going. So always look where you're going. Don't try to look at the console, try to look far ahead. And now I'm going to explain the foot controls on a motorcycle. Now on your left leg is the levers that shift the gear. Now your feet are supposed to be on the foot peg. Ideally your toe should be on the foot peg, and you have this gear lever system, which is a 1 down 5 up system, which means your neutral is basically between the first and the second gear. It's half a step upwards from the first gear. So wherever you're on a bike, whichever gear you may be, if your bike has a gear shift indicator, you can see that. If you do not have it, do not worry, just keep pressing down till you reach the first gear. Then you just lift it half a step up and reach your neutral. Otherwise, if your gear is not engaging, just rock the bike front and back. That will disengage the transmission system, and then you can click down to reach the first gear, lift half a step up and get it to neutral before you start the bike. On your right feet you have the brakes. This is the rear brake. You don't need it as a beginner, but as you go along you will learn that it is your secondary brake. It is a very easy brake to lock up, so be careful if you're using the rear brake. And as a beginner you don't need to use the rear brake. You can do most of the braking using the front brake only. Later, as you learn the usage of the rear brake, try to engage it very softly because it has a tendency to lock up, especially if you do not have ABS. We're going to take a look at this left hand switch gear. This is the high and low beam switcher, and that is the indicators. You can indicate whether left or right, and you can press it down to disengage the indicator. And that's the horn below, and on top you have the passing light. If you're on your lower beam, you can use that to indicate the vehicle in front of you that you want to pass. That's a signal. So that's not in your first day's job anyways. Before you start riding the bike, you have to get into your riding gear. Now, helmets are absolutely mandatory by law, and I recommend a full face helmet and not half face ones. Along with that, I'd advise you to go for the full riding gear kit, that is a jacket, gloves and leg protectors, with shoes which are leather or sneakers, but they have to cover your feet completely. Now I'm going to give you a short overview of my gears. You can find the reviews on the channel, and if you're looking to buy some riding gear, whether you're from the India or the United States, you can click the annotations on screen and it will take you to gear kit buying suggestions. So that's about it for the gears. Now let's move into the actual riding.
Oh, shit.
So the first thing to do is to start up your bike using the starter switch, which is located at the bottom of your right hand, and on top is the emergency kill switch. Now we can see that the bike is in neutral, but if it wasn't in neutral, you can just pull in the clutch and you can put it to neutral. It's half a step up from first gear, as I've told you before. Or you could just pull in the clutch and start. In some motorcycles, it requires you to pull in the clutch even if you're in neutral. As a beginner, you may do that on all motorcycles, so that even if you're in first gear, you don't stall the bike or fall off. So we're going to start up the bike using the starter button at the bottom of the right hand. Pull in the side stand up. Now engaging the first gear, because we are already started up the bike, and now we are going to start going. Now do not use the throttle at this point. Keep the throttle in 0 position and just let go of the clutch slowly and progressively. Now you will soon find a spot where the motorcycle will start rolling on its own without the throttle input. Now keep your hand on the throttle, do not accelerate, just keep it there and slowly let go of the clutch with your left hand. Now you find that spot and the bike starts rolling slowly. So if you're doing it well, it should be rolling like this. And see, there's no throttle input at all. I'm rolling the motorcycle without any throttle input. So you need to practice this up. And I'm also going to show you that you need to let go of the clutch completely when the bike starts rolling, otherwise you will damage the clutch plates. Now if you do it wrongly, I'll show you what happens. So we are stopped here again and we'll try to let go. See, if you do it wrongly, that's what happens. The motorcycle stops and you can just pull in the clutch, we're in first gear, and start it right back up. Now nothing on the throttle hand. For the demonstration's sake, I'm not even touching the throttle. See, I'm just going to leave the clutch slowly, disengage the clutch slowly, and the motorcycle starts rolling on its own. See, and completely leave the clutch as soon as the bike starts rolling. That's it. Now we're moving into the second part. Low speed turning on a motorcycle is pretty simple. You have to basically turn your handlebars towards the way you're going. So for left, you just turn your handlebars towards the left. This works up to 15 kilometers per hour speed. And for right, you just have to turn your handlebars towards the right. It's just like a bicycle. Now moving into the next part. So we'll be explaining gear shifts. With the clutch engaged, keep clicking down in whichever gear you are. Just keep clicking down till you reach first gear. Half a step up to neutral, one step down to first gear again. From there, you can keep one click up, full click up to second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and so on. To shift gears on a motorcycle, pull in the clutch with your left hand and then close the throttle with your right hand. That means 0 throttle input. At this point, you can shift up or down depending upon whether you want to increase the speed or decrease it. After you've done the shifting, release the clutch and accelerate simultaneously. Now that I've explained all the basic parts, comes in the tricky part. Now this is really easy to do, but it's kind of hard to explain. If you have ridden a bicycle, then you probably know that this is natural to all human beings. It's basically when you're going left, you have to turn the handlebar slightly, like a few millimeters towards the right. Then the bike drops to the left. As it drops, you center the handlebar again and then turn it towards the left, and then you take the left corner, which means you go through the left corner. Now I'll be explaining it in more details. Turn the bars towards the opposite direction. So for a left turn, you'd be turning the bars towards the right a few millimeters. The moment you do that, the bike leans over to the left. The weight drops towards the left. At this point, you're leaning the bike, you recenter the handlebar, and then you push it towards the corner, which means towards left, and then you continue through the turn. I used an external camera angle to show how exactly it is being done, and you can see how easy it is to steer the bike without turning the handlebars like conventional stuff, which I explained in the low speed turning previously. So this is what you need to know, because this is the easiest and most effective way on steering a motorcycle. Now moving into the next part. I don't want you to fall, so please pay attention. Pull in the clutch with your left hand and close the throttle with your right hand. At this time, you're ready to engage the front brake with your right hand. Put both feet down as soon as the bike loses its speed and comes to a stop. Don't release the clutch till you get to neutral or kill the ignition. Now remember, this is an interactive video, and as you go out there and practice, if you come up with any difficulties or if you need further clarifications, just put a question down below and I guarantee that I'll get back to you. If this video was helpful to you, please like it and share it so that more of your friends can view it. Or maybe if you found the girl beautiful, you can still share it. If this is your first time on the channel, please subscribe, because with your subscriptions we can make more and more videos and grow our channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. This is Rahul. Goodbye.